Good morning and welcome to this morning's children's talk from Providence Baptist Church. As part of this morning's talk, I would like to give some context to it. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to our children about these two ladies, Mary and Elizabeth. They are delighted to see each other, as you can see, because each has news to tell the other. Each wants to tell the other what God has done and the message that God has given them. And Mary's news is the most exciting of all, as it concerns the arrival of the long-awaited Saviour, the one promised by God who would rescue his people. We saw the prophecy from Micah at the end of the Old Testament, talking of the one who would be born in Bethlehem, and we heard about him at Christmas. Now, to understand this story, we must open up the Bible and understand that this is no ordinary book. It is more like a bookcase of books, 66 of them in fact, written by many different writers over many years, but with one author, God. We find the story of Mary and Elizabeth in Luke's Gospel, Luke's account of Jesus in the New Testament. But to understand who this promised child is, we must go right back to the beginning, to Genesis in the Old Testament. There we read about how God created all things, including the first two humans, Adam and Eve, and about how they disobeyed the one rule that God gave them, after Eve was tempted by Satan in the form of a serpent. And God promised that one day a baby would be born who would grow up to crush the serpent and sin. Later, God promised to Abraham that all nations would be blessed through a child that would come, and gave us in his story an idea of how a substitute would be sacrificed in our place. And then, sometime before Christmas, we had the story of Ruth. Two widows, Naomi and Ruth, had returned to Bethlehem, Naomi's hometown, with no one to help them. But their kinsman redeemer, Boaz, had come to their rescue. And in time a son, Obed, had been born to Ruth and Boaz. And we shall hear more of his family later. But first, we have to go to the first book of Samuel. And as the book opens, we find ourselves at Shiloh, at the tabernacle, the place where the priests performed sacrifices to God and where the people came to worship God. Every year, a man called Elkanah would go up to Shiloh to worship and make sacrifices, and he took his family of two wives, Peninnah and Hannah, and his children with him. Now Hannah had a great grief, because she had no children, while Peninnah had several, and Peninnah never let Hannah forget it. She provoked her and teased her about it. Hannah cried out to God that he might give her a son, and said that she would dedicate him to God. And in due time, according to God's purposes, she had a son, and named him Samuel, meaning God hears. Elkanah and Hannah were delighted with Samuel, but true to her word, when Samuel was old enough, she took him to the tabernacle in Shiloh and left him to serve there. And every year she would go up to the tabernacle to see him and to take him new clothes as he grew. And God blessed her with other children. Samuel served God at the tabernacle and grew in favour with God and with men. And we shall hear more of his story next week. My thanks go to GoTeach Publications for the material used in this video, and also to sites like Shutterstock and Free Bible Images, which have provided additional images. Thank you for watching.